Reflective Judgment Model, a summary of the work of Patricia King and Karen Strom-Kitchener. Once upon a time, a brilliant teacher was leading a great discussion with her class about the meaning of the title of a particular poem. The students were hanging on her every word. They were engaged and gave every appearance of soaking it all in. The teacher felt very proud of her skills, until one student stopped the conversation in its tracks. "So, what's the right answer?" he asked. She replied, "I don't know. What do you think?" And the class erupted into angry accusations regarding her skill and qualifications as a teacher. What happened? Why did the students react the way they did? According to King and Kitchener, these students were early in their development of reflective judgment. They were expecting a singular, definitive answer to the question at hand. In the reflective judgment model, they are just beginning their journey. Before we dive in, though, let's establish some common language and background. Patricia King and Karen Strom-Kitchener started developing the reflective judgment model in the 1970s and presented it in their 1994 book, Developing Reflective Judgment, Understanding and Promoting Intellectual Growth and Critical Thinking in Adolescents and Adults. This model gives a context for understanding the growth of complex reasoning in late adolescents and adults. That is, the epistemologic maturity of individuals, or the ways in which they understand the world around them and how that changes over time. This is measured by introducing ill-structured problems and examining the response to that problem. In the reflective judgment model, an ill-structured problem is not answered like a math problem with only one correct answer. They are much more complex and do not have an easily defined solution. They are problems where reasonable people can reasonably disagree, and people who have achieved high levels of reflective judgment are very good at disagreeing reasonably. If you've been on social media lately, you have seen enough epistemologic immaturity to last at least 4 years, and you probably have a strong grasp of the broad idea of reflective judgment. So let's dive deeper into this model and see what we find. King and Kitchener expressed this developmental sequence by establishing 3 major levels in the progression towards reflective judgment, with 7 stages throughout the levels. The first level is called pre-reflective thinking and has 3 stages. A pre-reflective thinker assumes that knowledge is certain, believes that only one correct answer exists for all questions, and that absolute certainty is obtained from listening to authority figures, just like our students in the story. The next level of reflective judgment is quasi-reflective thinking. Its 2 stages mark the beginning of epistemologic maturity and start by recognizing that uncertainty is a part of the knowing process, and that knowledge is evidence-based, but they will tend to select evidences that fit an established belief. Eventually, they will hold that knowledge is contextual and subjective, because it is filtered through personal perceptions. They finally see that other theories can be considered valid based on different evidence and perspectives. Finally, an epistemologically mature person joins the group of reflective thinkers. The 2 stages of this level consider that beliefs are justified by comparing evidence and opinion from different perspectives. The process of knowing requires that many factors are weighed and judged sound, while knowledge claims must be understood in the context they were created and can be evaluated for coherence and consistency by using available information. Ultimately, beliefs are justified probabilistically on the basis of a variety of interpretive considerations. Based on their research, King and Kitchener do not believe a person is limited to one developmental stage at a time. Instead, a person progresses across stages like a cresting wave, primarily functioning in one area, but showing hints of the adjacent stages. I found an excellent example of the reflective judgment model being used in practice in a paper titled Developing Reflective Judgment Through Master of Social Work Education by Potter and East. The authors present the reflective judgment model as a way to recognize that students differ in their assumptions about knowledge and their approaches to thinking, give students opportunities to observe the reasoning of those operating at higher levels, and demonstrate that effective teachers operate at high reflective judgment levels. The authors of this paper encourage social work educators to support the development of critical thinking skills in a field where that skill is highly desired. There are several key implications for higher education administrative professionals. The evidence indicates that the college experience seems to promote a move towards higher levels of reflective judgment. However, a great deal of time is required to move the crest of the wave in that direction, since each of the 7 stages of progression reflects a major change in the worldview of the student. The reflective judgment model can give educators context for understanding how some students reduce complex issues to simplistic views or binary choices between right and wrong, while others are able to step outside of their own views and beliefs to objectively examine foreign points of view.